Hello my loves, welcome back. I told myself I was not going to do another haul for a very long time. I told myself I wasn't going to buy any books again for a very long time. But this past month, I have only bought books that were either secondhand or like heavily discounted. And I thought it might be fun to like share what I've bought. One, because I'm curious to see how much money I've saved. I want to like add it all up and see. But also in this world of like, wherever you go, whether you're online, watching TV, just out and about, just constant shoving down your throat the need to buy stuff. I think especially this is becoming like more of a thing in the like online book world, and I'm hold my hands up, I've sat here and done haul videos many times. I know I am part of that, but it's almost like this competition to like own and buy as many books as possible, and that can feel really intimidating. And I kind of just want to show that you can access books without spending huge amounts of money. Yeah, it's still money, and you have to, I suppose you have to look a little harder and you have to be a little bit more picky if you're buying books in this way, but it is possible to save a fair bit of money compared to just like going to a traditional bookstore. I genuinely don't remember the last time I went to a traditional bookstore, to be completely honest with you. I very rarely buy books full price unless I'm like pre-ordering something. This ramble is not necessary. Also, if you're watching this at the time I'm uploading it, so in August, I think all of the books I'm going to mention are part of the currently 99p deal on there, so you might see some books that you're interested in that you can go and pick up really cheap. So I wanted to share the ones that I got. So I've got a stack of paperbacks next to me, and I'm going to start with the ones that aren't secondhand. These are new, but I got them at pretty reasonable prices. So the first one I found in Aldi, which I didn't know Aldi even sold books. It's like in their middle aisle, which I appreciate changes quite often, but they had, it wasn't a huge selection, it was like 3 or 4 books, and I picked up this one, Exciting Times by Dolan. I've never heard of this book, I've never heard of this author, but it was £2.50, and I was so excited by books being £2.50 in Aldi that I was like, I have to buy one. This is the only one that really stood out to me. I did read the blurbs of the others quickly while I was in there, and none of them particularly excited me. I can't remember what any of them were, to be able to tell you that. Apologies. Also could not tell you if this is still going to be in your Aldi if you go in there, because at this point I bought this maybe like 3 weeks ago, and they do change their middle aisle up pretty often. This just seemed like it might be quite chill and also quite different to what I normally read. It seems like woman going to try and find her like meaning and purpose in life type book, like doing something different. I thought it might be quite a nice easy read, something different, something I wouldn't have normally bought. So yeah, I have no idea when I'll read this because I kind of forgot already that I bought it. The next 2 books I got from TK Maxx. If you don't look in TK Maxx for books, especially if you like classics, you need to start looking in TK Maxx for classics because they pretty much always have them. They're usually pretty reasonably priced. They're not going to be like £1 or 2, but they're usually like £5-6, and they quite often have some really nice covers that I've not seen before. And that is what we have here. I got a really nice edition of Crime and Punishment, and also a really nice edition of Dracula. These are beautiful and I love them so much. They are also 2 of my favorite books, so I felt like I couldn't just leave them there. I did look online to see if I could find more of these because it has in the front like listed a whole load of other classics that they've done these in. They're quite difficult to find. My only issue is for Crime and Punishment, nowhere does it say who the translator is, so I literally have no idea if this is a good translation or not. I don't know that I will ever actually physically read it because I already have my Penguin Classics one that has all my annotations in it, and if I do reread it, I'll probably read that one, but could not tell you if this is a good translation or not, could not even tell you who translated it because it does not say anywhere. But yeah, they're pretty, so whatever. All of the next paperbacks are from charity shops, so I'm hoping I've left the sticker on for how much they were because otherwise I'm not going to remember. Again, if you are not already looking in charity shops for books, what are you doing? They are so cheap, like usually £1 to £2, and majority of the time really good condition. I don't think I've ever got a book from a charity shop that was bad condition. The only downside to it is you do have to like look more closely at what they have, and it can be more difficult to find good books in there sometimes. You're kind of just relying on someone nearby donating things that you're interested in. You can usually find something in them, and you're also giving money to a good cause while doing it. So check out your charity shops for books, because it's in my opinion worth the effort. The first book is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I don't know how to pronounce that name, I'm really sorry. This has been on my TBR for such a long time. I at this point don't even really remember what it's about. I don't remember, but it's been on my TBR for a really long time, and for whatever reason I've just never bought it. I saw it in there and it was, I believe, £1. This was a charity shop that it was like buy one get one free, but I didn't want any of the other books they had, so it could have been 50p if I bought 2, but it was £1. I think all of them that I've got are in really good condition. It has like some discoloration around the edge, but generally fine. The spine is intact. It looks like it was maybe read once and that was it. I'm very happy with this, because now I'm probably more likely to read it soon after wanting to for a very long time. The next book is Strange Sally Diamond by Liz Nugent. This still has the sticker on it, so this was £1 as well. This one is probably in the worst condition of all of them, mainly just, I don't know how well you can see it. But mainly the spine is like quite, this has clearly been cracked and like read like fully like this, because it's a bit warped. Generally it's decent, honestly. Like the actual book itself, there's no discoloration, the pages are all good. It's literally just the spine is a little bit warped, but I don't really care about that. I'm not fussy when it comes to spines getting like cracked and stuff, generally, even with my own book. So if I'm buying it secondhand, I especially don't care. I also think I am hopefully gonna enjoy this book, but it's not, I don't think, like a book that I'm gonna want like a pristine copy of, so I don't really care that it looks a little bit worn. I knew that I wanted to read this but couldn't remember what it was about when I saw it, so I just kind of bought it anyway because it was £1. Is it like a thriller? I don't remember exactly. I think it might be a thriller or like crime related. I feel like I remember this getting quite big, and again it being on my want to read list for a while, so again, more likely to read it soon because I now own it, so very happy with that. Then another £1 book, I think from that same place, I got The Black Tulip by Dumas. Dumas. I can't, he's not French. Is he French? I feel like he's French. I don't remember. I had never heard of this book before. I honestly don't know very much about Dumas. I don't know if I'm saying his name right either. I'm really sorry. I literally know nothing about him. I had to Google it to figure out he wrote The Count of Monte Cristo, which I have wanted to read for quite a long time. I literally picked this up because the cover looked nice. I do like Penguin Classics covers, and I think it said it was like about obsessional love. Oh no, romantic love, jealousy and obsession, which right up my street. This one also has some like cracking on the spine that's more obvious than the other one, like to look at. I think it's only more obvious because the cover's black, honestly, but again, generally in pretty good condition. I think this one, maybe something did get spilt on it, or maybe the like end pages are just a bit like yellowed, but I'm excited to read this. I don't think this is gonna be super high up on my list to read, but I'm always happy to have more classics, especially ones I don't really know much about or hadn't heard of. Then I think I got all 3 of these from the same shop, but this was also £1. This is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. I already have this on my Kindle, but my older sibling has been telling me to read this for a really long time because they love this book, and I keep saying I would and I didn't, although I think it was 99p on Kindle last month, and then I saw the physical copy for £1, and I quite like having a physical and a Kindle copy because I generally prefer reading print books, but if I'm out and about, having a Kindle version is very handy because then I can just read it on my phone if I'm out and need to read. So I saw it and was like, look, it's £1, I'll buy it. I don't really need it, but it's £1, so I'll buy it. So yeah, I have now both physical and Kindle copies of this, and I still have not read it, but I promise I will read it soon. I promise. And finally, from charity shops, this is the book that I was most excited about getting, just because of what I think is the absolute bargain of it, and that is War and Peace by none other than the Tolstoy. This book is very sun-bleached. The actual pages themselves and the spine, I don't think this book was ever read. I think someone bought it and then just gave it in. So I don't really care that it's sun-bleached. What I love about this and what made me so happy is that this is a 1,300 page book and I got it for £1.50. Like, that is just an absolute bargain. The price of this book, if you buy it like first hand in an actual bookshop, always surprises me anyway, because it's massive, but it's like £9.99, which is the same as a lot of Penguin classics that are like, I don't know, 300 pages. So the price of it always surprises me anyway, but £1.50 for a book this massive, like, just to put it in perspective, I paid 50p extra for this, and I know you can't just measure the value of a book based on how many pages it has, but that just made it seem like more of a bargain to me. I have been eyeing up War and Peace every single time I go into Waterstones or like see it anywhere. I've been like, should I buy it? It's massive. I'm probably not gonna read it for ages, but I want to read it eventually. Should I? And then I saw it for £1.50 and was like, it's time that I finally buy it. Could not tell you when I'll read this because I am incredibly intimidated by this book, but I am excited to read it eventually at some point. And the fact that I got it so cheap will just make me enjoy reading it even more. So God bless whatever charity shop this was, because I don't remember which one it was, but God bless you. That is all my physical books, so we can move on to the Kindle books now. I got quite a few of them this month in the 99p deals. Just a little tip that I did not come up with. My older sibling did this and then told me to do it as well, and I think it's a fantastic idea, and I'm now going to tell everyone to do it. If you use Goodreads or any other way to track what you want to read, including the books that you need to still buy and don't actually own yet, and you have a Kindle, go on Amazon and make a separate wish list just full of the Kindle editions of all of those books you need to buy, and then at the beginning of every month you can just go through that list and see if any of them are currently 99p. I did it the beginning of this month, and like I think 3 or 4 of the books that were on my list had been reduced to 99p. It also helped me find some that were on Kindle Unlimited that I don't think used to be. So just generally a helpful thing to do. All of these books that I got, I don't remember a single thing about any of them. I could not tell you what most of them are about, so sorry in advance. Some of them I might be able to tell you a bit more about than others. I didn't write any of the authors' names down when I was doing this, but as always, all of them will be in the description below. So the first one is Mayluna, and this, I believe, is about a band in the 90s, and the only thing I could get is that they have a connection to a woman. I don't really know more than that. The reason I got this was because it was about a band, and I quite like that premise. I have not really read any books about bands, actually. I don't really know why, because I love music. I wish I could play an instrument. I wish I could be in a band. So if I could escape into fiction, into that world, fantastic. So that is why I got that. The next is The Impossible Brightness, which I believe is about a woman experiencing grief, and she goes to an island and forms sort of connections with the community there. So I didn't read the full blurb of this. I got it in the hopes that it might be like emotional, but also like somewhat heartwarming and like hopeful. I think I also had maybe heard someone mention this book at some point. I'm not 100% sure, but I felt like there was a reason I specifically looked at this one. Then I got Hello Beautiful. This looked like a, oh fuck, what's the author's name? The cover looks really similar to books from another author, and I don't actually know if I'm gonna like this book. I remember thinking that as I was buying it, but I think from what I get, it's about a group of sisters who are like really close, and then one of them meets a boy and the boy causes like a division within the family, which I don't know that I love that. I don't know if I'm really gonna enjoy that. I think it does depend on the way it's written, the explanations for things, and also the like conclusion of everything. But I thought it's something different to what I normally read, and potentially it could be enjoyable. And I'm trying to read different things. There's quite a selection of different genres here, so you know, I thought I may as well try it and see. If I don't like it, I don't like it, but it was 99p, so you know. Then I got All That's Left in the World. I literally know barely anything about this book. What I could get from the Amazon page was that it's dystopian and it's gay, which, I mean, sounds like something I'd probably enjoy. I do remember seeing a lot of people talking about this book not that long ago though, and generally I think I only heard good things about it and that people quite enjoyed it. I also haven't really read any dystopian type books for years. When I was a teenager, that was like the peak of dystopian fiction being the thing. I don't think I've really read any since then, so I'm kind of intrigued to go back there and see what it's like and see how it's matured and changed over the years since then. So I'm hoping that I will enjoy this. I think I will, and I believe there's a second book, so we'll see. Then I got Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. Look, Ali Hazelwood books are not the type of books I think if you know me you would expect me to enjoy, but I don't know what it is about her books. I just can't help but find them kind of enjoyable. They're very easy to read. Yes, they're very predictable. Yes, the characters are all usually incredibly annoying in them, but there's just something about them that, like, if I'm falling into like a slump, I know that if I read an Ali Hazelwood book I'll be fine, because I'll finish that book in a day and feel motivated again to move on to the next one. Like, they're those kind of books. They don't change my life. They're not particularly groundbreaking, but they're easy to read and kind of enjoyable. I got that just prepared, ready for the next time I need Ali Hazelwood in my life when I'm like falling into a slump. I don't know anything about what this one's about aside from I'm assuming it's about chess. And once again, it's just Raylo fan fiction that's been changed into some slightly different characters. That's all I really need to know about any Ali Hazelwood book. I'm fine with that. So I'll get to that eventually, but I'm sorry, I can't help but enjoy her books. And then another book that was like just classic me, massive, and I never read was The House on the Cerulean Sea. I don't really know why I've never read this. Is it the one that's really long? 402 pages in Kindle. How long is the print book? I have really bad heart palpitations today for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm really not enjoying it. What the fuck is literary binding? Oh, library binding. Oh, okay. I thought it was the one that was really long, but 400 pages isn't that long, so maybe I'm thinking of a different book. I know that this book was massive. I know that people generally really like this book, and it does look like something I think I'd probably enjoy. I think it was described as like quite cozy, quite heartwarming fantasy, which big fan of. I quite like that change of pace when it comes to fantasy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm gonna be honest, it's not really on like the top of my list to read, but I feel like it's time that I eventually get around to reading this book. You know, like at this point, what, years after it was like massive and really popular? The next one I was a bit confused about. So this is My Vampire Plus One, which I think is in the same universe and with characters from My Roommate is a Vampire. This is a pre-order. I can't remember when this book comes out. I think it might be later this month, but it was 99p on pre-order on Kindle, so I was like immediately, yes, I'm pre-ordering that, because look, My Roommate is a Vampire was objectively a terrible book. It was really not a good book, but my god did I have a fun time reading that book. It was stupid and hilarious, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm really hoping this one is as good. It's been on my radar for a while. I've been like knowing that it was coming, but I couldn't remember exactly when. When I saw it was 99p, I was like, oh shit, I didn't realize this book's out yet. But then it's 99p on pre-order, which I was like, is this a mistake? Why is it so cheap for pre-order? I snapped that up and will definitely be reading it when it, I think it's like in my head I have like 26th of August. If I have remembered that exactly, I'm gonna be very impressed. Oh my god, it's the 26th of August. Obviously can't read that yet, but I will probably read that like this month, because that will be a nice, easy, hopefully funny read. Hopefully it's as good as the first one. I appreciate not a lot of people did not like that book, but I personally unapologetically loved My Roommate is a Vampire. The next book is one of the like Penguin Little Black Classics, which when you get the paperback, they're only like £3. So I don't actually know if these books are always 99p on Kindle, or if this was just reduced for the moment. But it's the death of Ivan Ilyich. I hope I said that right. I don't know if they're always 99p or not. They potentially might be, but I didn't realise that. And I really like the Little Black Classics. I have a few of the physical ones downstairs, and they're just really short. If you just want a little something, but you don't want to fully delve into a whole book, you know? I think that had been again on my want to read for a while, and I was just adding it to the list and was like, oh shit, it's 99p, so I got it. I think they might always be that cheap, so technically that's not discounted, I've just realised, but it was very cheap, so I'm still going to include it. The next book I feel like I added to my want to read like a very long time ago and then just completely forgot about it. It's The Strange Adventure of H, which I don't know how I found this book really, but it described as rags to riches, which I like. I appreciate that. That's always fun. And it's set during the plague in, I believe, London, which again, love that. I like certain periods of history quite a lot, and that is one of them that I quite enjoy. That I was like, yeah, immediately I'm gonna buy it. Then I read the actual blurb and I don't actually think I'm gonna enjoy this book at all. So I think the girl like gets pregnant, but it's like out of wedlock, so she's just like thrown out on the streets. So it's just gonna be about a woman who's pregnant for the whole book, and like that's just not really my thing. So I don't actually know if I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm hoping the setting and the rags to riches vibes will hold it up for me, but I don't think this is gonna be one I'm gonna read anytime soon. If anyone's read it, because I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about this book, let me know what you thought and if you liked it, because I feel like I need a bit of a push to read it. I'm not really sure if I should have bought it or not. Another book that I'm not really sure why I bought, because I just briefly read the blurb while checking it was still 99p, is An Enchantment of Ravens. Honestly, I probably bought this book just because it says ravens in it, and corvids are like my favorite kind of bird. I love them. There's a crow in my garden. There's two crows actually that I've been trying to make friends with for a few months. I think that's probably the only reason I bought it, because I read the blurb of it and I think it's just romantasy, which I don't like. We know that I don't really like it. So this is also probably quite low on my to read. However, I will say about romantasy, while I don't necessarily love it, those books are generally really easy to read. So again, if I find myself in a bit of a slump, I will quite often reach for one of those because they're very easy to read, and I know it'll usually get me back into reading and sometimes irritate me to such a level that I then feel I need to go and read something better. So they serve their purpose, even if I don't necessarily love them. But yeah, I just looked at that a second ago and was like, why did I buy this? Literally, what was going through my head when I bought this? This is not for me. Yeah, ravens. Another classic in the online book community is Juniper and Thorn. I genuinely have no idea what this book is about. Absolutely no idea. I just have never heard a bad thing about it. And I've heard good things about it from like people, but specifically YouTubers that I trust their recommendations of. So I'm hoping that I will enjoy this and it will be good. It's again been one that's like in the background of my mind for a while, knowing it's one that I want to read. Very excited to see it was 99p, because it's like one that's been in the background, but I haven't necessarily been like, oh, I really need to go out and buy that. It's just kind of been there. So again, I'm hoping it'll like give me a push to actually read it and that I will actually really enjoy it. I feel like this is similar, not necessarily that I've heard like good things about it from people I trust, but I've heard a lot about this book, and that is Dance of Thieves. Again, I have no idea what this book is about. Literally none. Could not tell you, but I like thieves, so that's why I got it. I feel like I'm probably going to be disappointed because it's probably not going to be what I expect, and it's probably not actually gonna be like, I don't know, the pickpocket gang in Oliver or Six of Crows Thieves. You know, it's not gonna be like that. Probably not, but I have it now, so there we go. Another book that I have no idea why I got is The Golden Couple. I think this is a thriller from what I can work out. I'm kind of meh about thrillers. I've never really found one that I've been like, whoa, this is amazing. I don't really know why I got this, apart from maybe just it was something slightly different, and maybe the bit of the blurb that I did read maybe sounded a bit mysterious. I think thrillers are another book actually that I can usually get through quite quickly if I'm like struggling, but I don't think it's one I'd really reach for if I was like in a slump. This is probably not going to be a priority for me to read, but at least I have it and I can try different thrillers, and maybe I'll find one that's amazing and decide I love thrillers, but I'm not holding out super high hopes. Another book that I don't know why I bought it, this has got very negative towards the end and I do apologize. This is a novel love story. I saw this a lot on the TikTok recommendations for like Kindle 99p books this month. Honestly, I think I just quite liked the cover and the name of it. I thought that maybe that would mean that it was like different or potentially like cozy book vibe love story, but I genuinely do not understand the premise of this book. I don't understand it. I've read it like 3 times and I don't know if I'm just being really stupid, but I can't work it out. There's like this woman who really likes a book and she goes to a book convention or something. I read this like 3 days ago, by the way, so this could be completely wrong. But she goes to like a book convention and then she like ends up accidentally stopping in a town where her favorite book's set. And it's phrased as if like then she has to relive the book, but I can't tell if it's actually like magical, like she has to relive the book and the character she wants is not there, or if she's just like really projecting that on the town. This does feel like maybe it could be like a cozier read, more of a like an autumnal cozy read. I could be completely reading that wrong and that's not the vibe of it, but that's what I get from the blurb, so I might reach for this soon. Maybe just because I'm so confused and intrigued, I don't really understand what's going on. That might push me to read it. Don't explain it to me, by the way. If you know, don't explain it to me because I want to find out by myself and see if I'm just being really dumb and not understanding it or what. So yeah. Next is Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. I had not heard of this book. I honestly didn't really know of much else by Chloe Gong apart from These Violent Delights books, and I know of one other but I can't remember what it's called. I have read These Violent Delights. I somewhat liked it. I didn't hate it, but it was okay. And I do have the second book in that series that I do need to read at some point. I appreciate that was like her first novel, and I am interested to see if like her writing style, like, I don't want to say improves, but improves through her other book. This, from the sounds of it, I think is like another Hunger Games-esque book of like there's these games that people need to compete in for some reason. And I thought, well, that's a pretty familiar style that's usually quite easier to read, and I somewhat like Chloe Gong, so may as well get it. I'm hoping it'll be somewhat enjoyable and not like what's that book called, Powerless, that was just literally a copy and paste of the Hunger Games. That is what I'm hoping. And finally, another book that honestly I don't know, actually I do know why I got it. It's Little Thieves, and once again I got it because I like thieves. This is a retelling of The Goose Girl. I don't know what The Goose Girl is. I've never heard of that before, so I would probably know what this is about if I knew that, but I couldn't even work out from the blurb what this is about because I think it requires you to know the story of the Goose Girl, which I do not. So I don't really know why I bought it, aside from that it says thieves in the name. I'm not gonna read the story of the Goose Girl beforehand. I feel like that would ruin it. I'm just gonna find out as I go along, and then maybe I'll read the Goose Girl afterwards. Is it like a children's story? I'm assuming it's a children's story, but I have no idea. We'll find out as we go. I don't think this will be super high up on my to-read list either, but it's there. I have it. I'll get to it eventually. and maybe along the way I will discover who the Goose Girl is. That is all the books that I've bought recently. I'm generally more excited about the physical ones I got than the Kindle ones. I don't know, it just feels a lot more satisfying finding books that you want physically, like in a charity shop where you had to like hunt around for them and you don't know if they're going to be there. I think that's why I'm like a little bit happier with those. And I think some of the Kindle ones I literally only bought because they were 99p and I was a bit like on the fence about them. So I was going to work out as I went along how much money I've saved, but I did not do that. So I'll just like put it somewhere in case you're curious to see how much I would have spent if I'd bought all of these books new at full price versus how much I actually spent. I'm hoping it was a worth it saving. Because I bought all of these like separately over like slightly different times, I didn't really keep track of how much money I was spending, so seeing the total might be a bit of a shock. But I hope you have enjoyed. I hope this has helped inspire you to go and find cheaper books and scout your local charity shops, scout your local TK Maxx to find nice covers of classics and hopefully decent secondhand copies of books that you want. Every book that I have mentioned will be listed down below. All of the Kindle ones are currently 99p in the month of August, so if you want to get any of them, get them now because they probably won't be 99p after August ends, apart from like the little black classic, so get them soon to save yourself some money. That is all I have for you guys today. I hope wherever you are you're having a wonderful day and I will see you guys soon. Bye.